You have the mic control? What? This mic's ready to go? Okay. Very good. There it is. Good morning, everyone. Time to get seated, time to get ready. Here we are. This is the 7th CARES Conference, and I am delighted to see so many of you here. My name is George Strimel, and I am not a physician. I am a glaucoma patient, as was my mother, as are 2 of my daughters, as is my grandson. Well, boy, if you can't hear me, now can you hear me? Can we bring it up? Because most people will be operating back here. Okay?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Well, I'll use this one. Again, my name is George Strimel. I'm the moderator. I am not a physician. You will be hearing from top physicians. I am, like many of you, a glaucoma patient. This is our 7th annual, or not annual, but our 7th conference, CARES Conference. And I am delighted to see so many here. And it just tells us about the need for this kind of conference. We begin with an introduction by Julia Haller, who is the ophthalmologist in chief at Wills Eye Hospital. Julia, use this.
Thank you, Mr. Strimel. It's a beautiful spring day. Who here is tired of winter? I'm with you. It was so beautiful coming over, and this is a beautiful facility, this Hamilton building. It actually is a very special building in that it houses many of the simulation laboratories for the Jefferson medical students. And you probably have read about how in medical school these days, instead of just going straight to patients, we now have the technology to have artificial patients, so to speak, where patients can simulate procedures like putting in intravenous lines or putting in arterial lines and chest tubes and some of the other things that we learn to do in medical school. So this building is not only beautiful and has lovely conference facilities, but it's very high tech in terms of what it offers to the medical students at Jefferson Medical College. And I want to welcome you here and welcome you on behalf of both Jefferson Medical College and Wills Eye Hospital. I want to particularly thank the dedicated team of organizers who's put this wonderful conference together, and that includes the incredibly dedicated group from the Glaucoma Service Foundation. I'm looking around the room and I see Dr. Rosenfeld there in the back, waving, and Jeremiah White, and the whole team who has done so much for us over the years in helping our patients with glaucoma. Mr. Strimel, with his booming voice and charming MC ability, it's really a pleasure to see him at this every year, and he keeps us all on schedule and doing so well. Will Harley, whose dad was one of the giants of Wills and whose foundation has done so much for so many people in the Philadelphia area. It's great to see you. Our glaucoma faculty, of course, is premier in the world, and I hope everyone realizes, as I do, I'm a retina specialist, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is to know that for every patient who I treat who develops a glaucoma problem, I have the very best physicians in the world consulting on my patient and taking care of them. And it's a wonderful feeling, and there are very few places in the world where you can know that every aspect of your eye care is being taken care of by the very best people in the world. You all may know that Wills Eye Hospital was started by a Quaker merchant who owned a grocery store nearby. And when he died in 1825, he left his fortune to build the world's first eye hospital, the first specialty hospital in the United States. And our mission since then has been to take care of visually disabled people in Philadelphia and in our region and in the United States and throughout the world. So this conference today very much goes back to those early days in the foundation of Wills Eye Hospital when a Quaker merchant with foresight and vision created the wonderful institution that we have today. And I want to congratulate all of you all who are here in being so much a part of that mission and taking ownership of this terrible scourge of glaucoma and fighting it with all your might alongside the rest of us. So welcome, and we all look forward to a wonderful day of learning and discussion. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much, Dr. Haller. Can you hear me now without this microphone? Anybody can't hear me? Well, how could you be answering me if you can't hear me? Anyway, a quick insert not on the agenda is a visit from City Councilman David O. David, would you come up here, please? There we go.
That mic, okay. Well, it is my honor and pleasure on behalf of our City Council to recognize this great event and all the people who were involved in it, and to present a resolution that we passed in City Council. It does include today, but it starts out recognizing Glaucoma Week. So let me read this for you. Recognizing March 9th to March 15th as Glaucoma Awareness Week in the City of Philadelphia. Whereas glaucoma is a group of eye diseases that gradually steal sight without warning through damage to the optic nerve, for which there is no cure, although once diagnosed, medication or laser surgery can slow or prevent further vision loss. And whereas glaucoma is the second leading cause of blindness, according to the World Health Organization, with over 60 million suspected cases worldwide. And whereas over 2.2 million Americans have glaucoma, but half of those don't even know they have it. And more than 120,000 Americans are blind due to glaucoma. And whereas those most at risk of glaucoma are those of African, Asian, and Hispanic descent, people over 60, family members of those already diagnosed, diabetics, and people who are severely nearsighted. And whereas after cataracts, glaucoma is the leading cause of blindness among African Americans, with blindness from glaucoma 6 to 8 times more common in African Americans than Caucasians, and with African Americans 15 times more likely to be visually impaired from glaucoma than Caucasians. And whereas the Glaucoma Service Foundation's mission is to preserve or enhance the health of all people with glaucoma and provide a model of medical care by supporting the innovative educational and research efforts of the physicians and staff on the Wills Eye Hospital Glaucoma Service and Glaucoma Research Center, the largest glaucoma diagnosis and treatment center in the United States. And whereas on April 26th of 2014, Glaucoma Screening and Information Day, the Glaucoma Service Foundation will hold its important annual day-long patient-directed educational conference about glaucoma at the Dorrance H. Hamilton Building at Thomas Jefferson University, 1001 Locust Street in Philadelphia, called the CARES Conference, where CARES stands for Committed to Awareness Through Research, Education, and Support. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Philadelphia hereby recognizes March 9th to March 15th, 2014 as Glaucoma Awareness Week in the City of Philadelphia. Further resolved that an engrossed copy of the resolution be presented to the Glaucoma Service Foundation located at Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia as evidence of the respect and admiration of this legislative body for those who work to prevent blindness and who serve those who suffer from glaucoma. And this is signed by all the members of City Council. And I would love to present this.
We're going to have our next speaker, Will Harley, accept it.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilman Owen. Thanks very much. Good to see you again. Now, our next speaker is Will Harley. Come on up, Will. And as you can read on your, I hope, site's good enough to read, you can read the agenda. I will wait no further and introduce Will. Will, thanks very much for really helping make this possible.
Good morning, everyone. George and I, we are projectors, so we probably don't need this microphone, but I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Good morning.
Good morning.
A little bit better? Good morning. Thank you. Let me know you're out there. My name is William Harley, and I have the pleasure of welcoming all of you to the 7th Annual CARES Conference. CARES, as was mentioned before, stands for Committed to Awareness Through Research, Education, and Support, and is produced by the Glaucoma Service Foundation to Prevent Blindness at Wills Eye Hospital, which is just down the street. The image behind me of that very good-looking guy is my father, Robison D. Harley, who practiced at Wills Eye Hospital many years ago. And he too suffered from glaucoma. And because he cared about Wills Eye and he suffered from the disease, he left money in a fund called the Robison D. Harley Fund for Glaucoma Education and Research to support patient education. Today, as one of the directors, I'm happy to fund this program for the 4th year as a supporter of CARES Conference. As CARES, the name implies, we're committed to learning about the treatment of glaucoma. And if my dad were here, he would downplay some of his achievements, including his philanthropy and contribution to this event. But he's not here, and I hope you will indulge me to tell you a little bit more about that guy who I love so much. He was born in 1911, and he passed away in 2007 at the young age of 95. He had natural curiosity and loved to teach after medical school. He earned his PhD in neuro-ophthalmology. And that was at the Mayo Clinic just when the World War II broke out. And with his interest in travel, he was relocated to Gorgas Hospital in the Panama Canal Zone, where, lucky for me, he met my mother. And when he was off duty, he offered his surgical skills to the local residents for free, and he spent time doing research in one of the last leper colonies in Panama. And after the war, he returned to Atlantic City to work with his father, Halvor Larson Harley, who also was an ophthalmologist. And in a short time, the patients were wanting to see young Dr. Harley because of his unique ability to communicate and care for his patients. After a few years, he took over his father's practice. But his true calling was really in teaching. In 1967, he sold his practice in Atlantic City and he moved to Philadelphia and was proud and honored to teach at some of the local organizations like Temple University, St. Christopher's Hospital for Children, and of course at Wills Eye. As a matter of fact, he ran the pediatric ophthalmology department at Wills and was considered by many to be a world leader in pediatric ophthalmology. And that department is now under the capable direction of Dr. Alex Levin. My father's contribution to medicine includes publishing over 150 medical articles, designing and developing new surgical techniques, speaking at medical conferences to his peers, and volunteering around the world. In 1975, he edited and published Harley's Pediatric Ophthalmology Textbook, which is still in print and still used at medical schools in the United States and around the world. But a funny thing is, these achievements almost did not happen. You see, at the age of 16, he had contracted tuberculosis and spent most of that year recovering. And his grades in high school were quite poor, to the extent that the principal at Atlantic City High School told his mother that he was not college material, and that the best that he could hope for, or that she could hope for, is that maybe he could learn a trade. But my grandmother never gave up on him. And she told my grandfather to tutor him so he could enter college. And he did. He was accepted to Rutgers University, and he did quite well. The last 2 years of school, he discovered his love of medicine. But up until that point, he was going to be a forest ranger. And I'm thankful because had he not discovered medicine, he would not have met my mother, and I would not be standing in front of you talking today. So what my dad's life story tells all of us is that we can succeed when so much is against us. But it really comes to the commitment that we have, our support structure, and our belief system. In his case, not only was his own belief system that of his chief supporter, his mother, but of himself. And today we're here at this conference to learn more from the best minds in glaucoma. And I ask you about your commitment and your beliefs to learn not only for yourself, but to network and share what you learn here today from this horrible condition, that perhaps you, in your way, will be able to influence others. We're spreading the value of the CARES Conference, and that's one of the reasons why I support this event, to build awareness, to build the research, the education, and the support. I have one last question for all of you. You've been handed out a survey, and we need to hear from you, what you liked, what you didn't like, how we can improve this event. And maybe there's some out-of-the-box ideas that you have that we can incorporate in future CARES events. So please let us know. Your communication is so important, and your participation today is so important to all of us. So in this way, you can help us make this event more valuable to all of those that are directed and linked with this condition. So I thank you in advance for sharing what you learned today, and I thank you for being here. Let the learning begin, and enjoy the conference. Thank you.
So we honor the Father, we thank the Son, and we begin the conversation with Dr. George Spaeth talking about how do you treat the whole patient.
George, how to move the slides ahead.
It's a team.
Here we are, Chris. Good morning, all. If you can't hear me, or if I speak too quickly or something, please just put up your hand. There's no sense in my talking to myself. This talk is directed to people who have glaucoma. It's not for physicians. And it follows up on what we just heard in that we need your help. You need your help, and we need your help. Now, what is it that concerns